Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? The show will begin in 3 minutes. Are you ready? What did it feel like to be in love? What is the most painful part of being in love? The show will begin in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to make a change? The show will begin in 1 minute. I hope you're ready. The show will begin in exactly 30 seconds. Get ready. Have you ever been confused by what a guy's real intentions are? What if I told you you can actually trick men into revealing to you his real intentions accidentally? If you want to learn this secret sneaky strategy, then join me on today's show where we'll be discussing how to get men to reveal their intentions to you. That way you never again waste your time, your energy, and intimacy on a man who doesn't even want the same thing as you. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. So good to have you out on the show today, and so good to have you participating in the show. I hope you're participating, not just sitting back and watching in your bed. All right. How are you guys doing on this Monday afternoon? We're getting very close to Christmas. I should put some lights up and stuff like that, or wear my Christmas sweater. Welcome today. Who we got? We got Go Plants here. Manifesting is here. SJ is here. M is here. Caroline is here. Crystal is here. Jasmine is here in the TikTok chat. Welcome all you beautiful people in the TikTok chat. And of course, we have our three moderators, Sharice, SH, and Scotty here. Who we got up in our YouTube chat? We got Mary Kim here. We got Irina here. We got Kayla here. We got Great Fortune Cookie, one of our amazing channel members. I see we had, I believe Tracy Niles was here earlier as well, one of our amazing channel members. Let me scroll up. I want to make sure I get to shout out all of our amazing channel members. We have Olga, one of our amazing channel members here. Nicole Cottom, one of the most generous and amazing channel members here, and lots more. And of course, we have Missy America holding down our YouTube chat. She kind of holds down both chats. All right, let's hop into point number one. It is Monday, but it's like, it's holiday Monday because I'm assuming most of you don't have work anymore, right? Tell me in the chat, are you guys off work, or you still got work this week, or you're like off for the year now? Because if you're off for the year now, this is definitely pay attention time. You don't got nothing else to do but listen to me talk to you about how to date men, all right? So you better be paying real close attention today, all right? I hope you are. I see some of you saying off. Some of you are still working. Hopefully, when you get your time off to relax, you'll be able to do that. All right, let's hop into number one. We're getting, I won't lie to you, we're getting kind of nasty. Okay, this is going to sound really nasty when we start it off. I hope there aren't too many underage people in the chat because we had to start it off wet. We had started off nasty today, okay? I'm not going to lie to you. So, number one, very important. As strange as this is going to sound, you have to be wet by words. Now, what do I mean by wet by words? Okay, so you're going to have him here, and he's going to be talking to you. So we're going to kind of do a little bit of a feedback loop here. So obviously he's having conversation with you about himself. One of the basic conversations and questions you're going to ask when you start dating a guy is, hey, what are you looking for? Okay, not an uncommon question to ask. He'll usually ask that question about you. As he's talking about himself, his life, and the things that he's looking for in a relationship, what you want to be doing, right, is you want to be making him what we call feel good. Right? And we're going to discuss what it really means to feel good throughout the show. And we also want to be encouraging. I'll just put encourage. We want to be encouraging him as he's talking. Then what's going to happen is as you encourage him as he's talking and you're making him feel good, he's gonna share more. So how does being wet by words fit into what you're trying to do here, okay? So here's what I want you to understand. One of the ways that you can really hit a man's ego, because a lot of the times whenever you want to affect a man's thoughts, you want to implant seeds inside him, you want to make him feel a particular feeling, you always want to understand how do you touch the ego, because that's the thing that's going to inspire him to take action on whatever the thing is, all right? So what I mean by that in this scenario is we want you to hit his ego by making him feel good about the process of sharing through the concept that you are wet by his words. Meaning, you want to come to this date with the energy that, hey, when you start talking about yourself, it's so fascinating, it's so interesting that as you're talking, I just start feeling all over my body. And it just gets me, it takes me to a place that's so magical. I've never had a man talk like you do. Your voice is so sultry. Your raspiness just takes me to a different. Can you please talk some more? I'm losing control of my body. I know when I'm doing it and we're talking about it in class, it sounds very ridiculous. Why would guys care or be affected by the fact that I like his voice and like to hear him talk? This is an ego stroker. And I know I tell you guys not to ego stroke men in a way that will have them look down upon you, but ego stroking positively can do good things for you if you're doing it for the right reasons. So in this scenario, you're ego stroking to continue to have him share with you, right? Because you want him to feel good about the process of sharing with you and being honest with you and talking about what he wants and his own life. As you make him feel good about that, you're simultaneously going to be encouraging him through a plethora of different techniques that we're also going to talk about in this show. And then it's going to lead him to share more with you. And this is the loop you want to put him in. It's like a trance. So what I want you to understand about today's show, when we're talking about getting a guy to reveal his intentions to you, you're actually putting him in a trance. And that trance is going to trick him into actually telling you the truth instead of doing what men are most likely to do in relationships and on dates, which is as they talk more, they start to feel like, I probably shouldn't share that, right? Because what's going to happen is instead of them feeling good a lot of times, right, they feel bad based on some ways that you might react or respond to him, right? And instead of encouraging him, you actually discourage him. And as you discourage him, instead of sharing more, he will share less. And so this becomes the cycle a lot of the times when you're not actually focused on doing what you need to be doing to get him to reveal truths to you. A lot of what I say and talk about in this show is going to sound a little bit counterintuitive to you, but I want you to be sure that we're doing it for a specific reason. So as it relates to being wet by words, the way that you're going to present yourself is that you actually become turned on physically. And I mean, like, it actually creates lubrication in between your legs to hear him talk more about himself, because his life, the way he thinks, the way he acts, the way he goes about things, his intelligence, you can add on all the sauce, just makes you so lubricated you don't feel like you've ever met a man as fascinating as he is. Even if that's not true, I want you to understand you're trying to help yourself do something here. And what you're trying to help yourself do is get him into a cycle of talking and sharing more. And the way you do that as it relates to men is you hit the ego. And in this case, you're stroking the ego. You're making him feel like the man for sharing more with you. Okay, it's a very subtle trick. And the way you make him feel like the man is by telling him, oh my God, you wouldn't understand how your manly, amazing voice and your manly, amazing stories are actually doing something to my womanly, feminine body, right? That is the biggest ego stroke for men. Oh, I'm such a interesting man, you know. they really, you know, my friends always tell me I should have been cast in the last 007 movie. They really tell me I look and sound a lot like James Bond. In fact, the other day, one of my friends, he went to go watch the latest James Bond movie, and he was telling me his life's not even as interesting as mine, you know. But, you know, I'm like a real humble guy, you know. I try not to brag or anything like that, right? You want to give him that, okay? And I know it feels very fake and very dishonest to give a man that, even if you don't actually feel that. But what I want you to never forget is there's a strategy to everything. And if you want to get him to reveal his true intentions to you, and you want to get him talking, and you want to get him spilling all of the tea, as the Gen Z kids would say, you want him in a position where he feels good about talking about himself. So this is the perfect place to start to get guys feeling good about talking about themselves, right? They feel like they're doing something. They might even, you know, be able to penetrate themselves inside of you after this if they talk enough, okay? And this is kind of the way you're going to trick them. I know it sounds horrible, but the way you're going to trick them into sharing a lot, right? Because guys are always thinking about sex, okay? They're always thinking about how they get closer to being able to jack that rabbit themselves inside of you. So if they're always thinking about how they can jackrabbit themselves inside of you, why don't you use that to your advantage? Why don't you actually use that to manipulate him into thinking that he's getting closer to being able to jackrabbit himself inside of you by talking more about himself and what he really wants for a relationship and how he's really treated his ex and all the things he's really done in his past relationships? Imagine that. You use that and the fact that he's so focused on sleeping with you to actually trick him into revealing a lot of secrets that will actually make it obvious to you that you don't want to sleep with him. This is like the advanced players clubs stuff that you came here to learn and understand. Because never forget that when you're doing things and you're being strategic about things, even though they might feel counterintuitive, you're doing them for a reason. And in this case, we're attaching yourself to a man's ego to do something very special for you, okay? So you're wet by the words, all right? I want you to, the reason that's point number one is because I want that to be the energy you start to embody and think of yourself in when we're talking about this strategy, okay? You're wet by the words he's telling you. Every sentence, every story, every time he tells you more and more about himself and reveals a deeper and darker secret, oh my gosh, you're just a little bit more lubricated. Please don't look at the wet spot on your pants. You're so embarrassed. Oh my God. All right, let's go on to point number two, okay? Point number two is perspective. Okay, we're going to discuss perspective. Now, something very important that I kind of want you to take notice of. So we're going to draw out a little bit of a visual here, right? So you got the man here, and let's just imagine. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense at first, but let's just imagine that we're at war, okay? So I'm going to draw all these little soldiers. We're in a war here. And let's say we have the man here and we have his ex here, okay? Trust me, we're going somewhere very special. So stay with me, please, okay? So you got all these different soldiers here. So we'll point them out, right? We'll say that they're soldiers. How do you spell soldiers, chat? That's not how you spell it. How do you spell it? Spell check, police. How do you spell soldiers? Tell me in the chat. I need to know. Soldiers. I'd be forgetting this. They don't have no J in it. Right? Soul. I'm going to spell this right for you all. There we go. Interesting. All right, so we have all these different soldiers. Thank you, spell check, okay? Glad you're paying attention. All right, so you have all these soldiers here. And you have the man here and you have the ex here. So very important, right? We're at war at this point in a relationship. We're at war at every point in the relationship, right? It's always a battle of control. Now, very important that for this part of the conversation, and what you're trying to accomplish, you're trying to get him to reveal things to you. So what do we really mean by reveal things to you? We're talking about telling you the truth of his intentions with you, whether or not he just wants to sleep with you, whether he actually wants to be in a relationship with you, whether he wants to date you long-term, short-term, make you a side chick. Does he have another relationship, another family? You want to be aware, how do you really feel about me? And what are you really trying to accomplish here by talking to me and taking me out on this date? One of the grave mistakes you're going to make, though, is that when he begins talking to you about his life, and especially when he begins talking to you about the topic of his last relationship, you are a woman. And so there's probably a lot of times where a guy will talk to you about a situation that he's dealt with another woman. And you tend to be able to see the perspective of the woman a lot better because you are a woman. So when he's describing to you how he treated his ex or went about the relationship, or maybe he cheated on her because he was sad and he was lonely for a couple of weeks and he went on a business trip and he's telling you all this information, you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I've been that girl before. I've been in her situation, right? Being someone who is with a man who goes on business trips and cheats because he's sad and lonely. Oops, I put man. Oh, we talk about men too much. I be putting men in even the thing here, okay? I meant to put you here. So you end up being in a position where you actually take the side of your ex. Now, the reason I wanted to present this as a visual for you is because imagine this as a war. And you're actually on a date with this guy, and as he's telling you about real interactions he's had with his ex, or interactions he's had with past relationships or situationships, even if he's telling you about side chicks that he mistreated and he played because he didn't really want them, right? And you're taking the side of the woman or the side chick or the ex because you're thinking to yourself, no, the way you treated her was horrible. The way you went about the relationship or the situation was inappropriate. You should have done this. You should have talked to her. You should have called her. You should have reached out. And you're thinking all of these thoughts. Now, you're thinking what might actually be true. You're thinking what might actually be morally correct. But here's the problem. When you take the ex's side or the woman's side when he's telling you a story about his life or his past relationships, these men immediately shut down. Why? Because similar to a war, they now see you as the enemy. They're telling you about someone they disagreed with, someone they broke up with, someone that they feel like was in the wrong. Because trust me, everyone thinks that their ex is the one in the wrong, all right? So as he's describing the story to you and he realizes that you're on the ex's side, then you become an enemy where he starts to say, oh, why am I going to start sharing with you more information and give you more details about my life, more details about what I did and how I operated? Imagine if instead of just having the one story about him cheating on his ex the one time when he went on a business trip, in reality, he's cheated on his ex 15 times. And he's done it in her house, and he's done it with her sister, and he's done it with her best friend. Imagine if he had those stories still left in the tank to tell you, but you didn't get that information because you already seemed to be on the side of his ex and to be taking her side just by the simple time that he began sharing, just from the beginning of him starting to share with you, I should say. Okay? And as he starts to share with you from the very beginning and realizes that you don't see his perspective and that you're on the other side, he immediately begins to take the defensive and says, perfect. Now I won't share with you any more secrets. I won't go into any more detail, and I'm definitely not going to tell you about the other 14 women I slept with while I was in this relationship with this ex. But what happens is, imagine if you're in a situation where you only hear the surface level of the story, because quickly he realizes he can't tell you too much without getting judged or without making himself less desirable. Then, when you make a decision about whether or not you want to date him or be with him, rather than you being able to make the decision based on all of the truthful information laid out to you, you're now making a decision based on a small sliver of information that is so surface level, you're not actually properly able to gauge who are you and what are you here for. So the reason I say that and paint that picture for you is because you do yourself a complete disservice by not understanding how much of a fatal mistake it is to put yourself in the shoes of the other woman and try and see her perspective and try and preach her perspective to him. Because when you want a man to reveal his real intentions to you, what you gotta do, and those of you paying attention know exactly what I'm about to do right now, what you gotta do rather than being on his side in the relation, on her side, is you gotta present yourself as if you are completely on his side. Okay? You've got to see things his way. You've got to imagine them his way. You've got to think the way he thinks. You've got to follow his logic train, okay? You've got to have empathy for him and his experience, whether it's good or bad, because you're doing something for yourself, not for him. You're doing something for yourself because when you side with him, when you say, oh, I see your perspective, I understand what you're going through. I see how you came across that decision or you made that decision. Even though you're saying it's a mistake, I understand what it's like to be in that position. Or I can only imagine how hard that was for you to go through, where you were so lonely and you were going on jobs and you were stressed out and you finally had someone to comfort you, right? Seeing his perspective is so valuable to you because now, they always talk about creating a safe space, a safe space, a safe space. You're actually creating a safe space for him to feel like in this war of relationships, right? And dynamics, he has you on his side fighting with him instead of you on the opposite side as the enemy that he's fighting against. So he no longer has to feel defensive towards you. He no longer has to feel like he has to keep secrets from you or not tell you some things or only share with you the tip of the iceberg. Instead, just like if you're at war with someone else, you know, you have your people that you're at war with and you're going to war with, he's going to tell you some of his deepest, darkest secrets. He's going to tell you his weak points. He's going to tell you his mistakes. He's going to tell you the places that he went wrong. Sorry, right? And when he tells you the places that he went wrong, now you're getting a whole lot of valuable intel and information. Now you're learning so much more about him. Now you're starting to actually see him for who he really is. But he doesn't realize that as you're gathering this information, you're deciding to yourself, am I actually going to be with this guy for who he really is? Or as I'm hearing who he really is, will I actually choose to not be with him? And that's part of the mistake that you make, because you're thinking, oh my gosh, I should express exactly how I feel about everything he's telling me right in that moment. But I don't want you to do that. I want you to go on that entire date and see his perspective and be on his side. Then when you get home, you can actually do the judging and deciding whether or not you want to actually be with him or be in this relationship with him. Does that make sense to all of you so far, and why that's very important? Okay, right? Justice Liberty says, why don't men know all this stuff? Tomisin, you need a show that is catered towards educating them how to behave correctly. Let me let you in on a secret. And for those of you who ever wonder, why don't you spend all this time educating men? Let me let you in on a secret. First of all, I'd have less time to educate you if I was educating men, because I'm only one person. So just remember that whenever you guys ask for that, if you actually wanted that and got that, you'd get less of me. So that's number one. Number two, if I spent time educating men on how they should act, and they go out into their life and they're able to still get what they want from women, whether they treat them with respect or disrespect, and treating them with disrespect and neglect actually allows them to get more women for less, why would they bother listening to what I tell them about treating women right when treating women wrong still gets them a lot of women with way less effort? Okay? So just understand that concept. Yeah, cool. In theory, it sounds amazing for me to say, I'm going to be the captain superhero who's going to save all the men and tell them exactly how they should act and treat women this way and get them flowers and do this work and all that good stuff. They don't give a damn. They give a damn about how many women can they access. Anything outside of that, they don't give a damn about. Okay, so if I'm telling them how they should do this and this and this, and it requires more effort than they've been giving to get access to women, why would they bother doing that thing? It's just creating more work for them for no reason. Okay, so if I actually wanted to help society from a larger standpoint, I should go and actually talk to all you beautiful women and help you understand the tricks that men will play on you so that you can have higher standards and accept less of these trash men. Because then the trash men who are giving low effort will be forced to raise their own standard. Do you see how that works? Okay. I just mentioned that because I know some of you guys be thinking that. Why don't you teach the men? Teach the men. Honestly, the men don't give a damn. Just being honest with you, right? Let's move on to point number 3. Okay. Hope that makes sense. I know that was a little bit of a side note, but I see people ask that every now and again. You should teach the men how to act right. The men don't give a damn about how to act right. They give a damn about how to get access to you for free, okay? I teach the men how to act right. There will be 0 people in my show listening to me, I promise you, and you guys won't even get to see me. All right, so let's hop into point number 3, okay? All right. So this is point number 3, right? We're on 3. Sounds weird, this one, okay? You're gonna fake share. Now, there's a very particular reason that I want you to fake share, okay? So we're gonna give a little bit of a visual here so that we can all understand what I mean here. So every time, what I want you to start getting an idea of, because I know when you go out on this date, the first thing you're saying to yourself is, well, Thomasin, as I'm on this date with this guy and I'm telling him how I feel and and I'm asking him all these questions and, going here and getting all this understanding of his experiences and his past relationships, of course, he's going to ask me, what about you? Or he might ask me the same exact question. What am I going to do then? You're going to fake share. Because remember, getting a guy to reveal his intentions about you, you're doing two things simultaneously. One, you're putting him in a trance to get him to spill more towards you. But also number two, and very, very importantly, you are making sure that you don't give him valuable information that he can actually use. Because the problem is, every time you say things like, I want flowers, right? This is a statement you make, right? He's now building. He's got the head now, right? When you say things like, I love, let's say, a intentional man, okay? Once again, now he's building the hair out, okay? In terms of this painting, imagine this as a painting. So we'll even put here, right? A painting. Right? As you say all of these different things, slowly but surely, right? I love a man who, right? I love a man who, right? All of the different things that you can say, he's going to be building out his painting of who he thinks the man you're looking for is, okay? So imagine this as a sketch artist, right? You know how when if someone, let's say you encounter a thief and this thief comes to you and steals your purse, and you go to the police station, and at the police station, the police officer asks you, okay, ma'am, let me know exactly what the guy looked like who stole your purse. And you describe to him, okay, he had spiky hair, he had really beady eyes, he had a huge, backwards hairline, he was about 6'1", okay, right? And he was light skinned, right? And, he had a really crooked smile, whatever the case may be. And as you're giving all of this description, the sketch artist eventually says, okay, perfect. Is this the guy you're looking for? And he shows you a picture like this and you're like, oh, that's him. That's literally him. That's exactly what he looked like. Okay. And it's the same thing for you in your relationships. Don't make the mistake of, as you're trying to get a guy to reveal his real intentions to you, that you end up making the mistake of giving him the perfect sketch and all the details to sketch out the exact guy that you're looking for. And you know what exactly he's going to do when you give him the complete sketch? He's just going to take this sketch and he's going to paste it on top of his face and he's going to say, peekaboo, I'm actually exactly the guy that you were looking for. Can you believe it? It's me the whole time, exactly as you said you wanted it, exactly as you planned or thought it would be in your fantasy. It's actually me in real life. I didn't know if you knew that, okay? And that can be a mistake because then you're not actually getting his real intentions. You're actually getting a fake version of his intentions based around and structured around what your deeper desires are. Okay? But the problem is, by the time he makes it so specific to your deeper desires, you actually feel like it's real. Okay? And you feel like it can't be a coincidence that someone would show up into your life doing exactly the type of things that you want, saying exactly the type of things that you want him to say, acting the exact way that you've always dreamt a man would act for you specifically. Because you're thinking, well, won't he already know that I want a guy who's intentional? Or won't he already know that I like a guy who does this or does that? Not necessarily. And especially when you're talking in depth and in detail about what you like, you don't even realize you're not just painting a picture of a general guy that you would like. You're painting a picture of the exact guy that you have been dreaming of. So when you go into all those little details, you'll be shocked because you don't realize it. Because when the guys can get you into a trance of dumping and sharing and sharing and sharing, you don't realize you'll start going into the most specific of specific details of like fantasies that you've always had that a man would do for you. You'll start telling him like really specific, I've always dreamt of being on a hillside And when I'm on this hillside, my man tells me how much he loves me, and he brings me a bouquet of flowers, and I'm sitting, and the sun is like, you know, that little orange tint that the sun has sometimes? Yeah, we're like overlooking this hill, and the orange tint of the sun, and the wind is blowing from the west. And you won't realize how specific you're being about that dream and that fantasy. So then imagine if he's smart and all he does is says, oh my God, flowers only cost $20 and we can go to the nearest hillside and I can recreate that exact moment. Then when you're experiencing it, you won't realize that, oh my gosh, this is a curated experience. You'll be thinking, oh my God, this experience was bestowed upon me because this is my perfect man. Okay, so you have to fake share. What do I mean by fake sharing? You're going to essentially become very good. We might even have a whole show on this. You're going to become very good at saying a whole lot of nothing. Okay? You're going to yap, yap, yap to make it seem like you're very open to discussing and talking about yourself and your desires as well. But you're not actually going to say anything real or detailed that would give him any real good information of how to paint the perfect picture for the man that you're looking for. So what does that really look like to be fake sharing? So for example, this guy comes on a date with you, and he asks you the prototypical question, what are you looking for? Instead of you telling him all the details of the Prince Charming guy that you're looking for and the dream that you've had of being by the hillside and seeing the orange sky, instead of that, you tell him things like, oh, you know what? I'm just allowing myself to date people and experience people. You put the sauce on it, okay? I'm allowing people to date me and I want to experience them for who they are and really just focus on understanding the human being that I'm on a date with. Because I feel like if I go in with too many expectations, then I'll be boxed in to what I expect from that guy. And I want to be open to the possibility that I might meet the love of my life and he might be a little bit different than the person that I was thinking in my mind. So I really just want to soak the person in for who they are and experience them exactly as they exist, because I feel like that's the most powerful way to build a deep romantic connection. You see how I just made it seem like I'm really saying something, but I actually haven't given you any information. So when you walk away on the date and you're thinking to yourself, what is that girl actually looking for? You'll realize, right? Well, the men won't realize this until later. There is nothing to go off of. Right? I just spent the last 15 seconds going into detail as if it felt like I was really passionate about this and like that was my real honest answer deep inside my heart, telling you how I really feel about this and how I feel about that. But I didn't actually give you anything that you can use, because what are you supposed to do? Be yourself. So what use is that to you? You don't know how to act. You don't know how to talk. You don't know how to present yourself. You're going off of no information, which is exactly what you want. You want to give the men no information, right? You don't actually say anything. You say a whole lot of nothing, okay? You toss in a word salad. I see some people saying like politicians. Exactly, okay? You toss up a word salad. You speak as if you're really passionate and going into detail about what you think and what your answer is. That way, he believes that you're open to being honest. Because the worst thing that you can do when you're getting a guy to reveal his intentions to you is to present yourself as if you're here for a questioning or an interview or some sort of interrogation. Because as you're asking your questions, you don't want him to then ask you, okay, what about you? Or what about your life? And immediately you say, oh, actually, I don't answer those type of questions. Or actually, this is supposed to be about me asking you. Because then he's going to start becoming suspicious of you and your intentions here. And he's going to start saying, oh, maybe I'm making a mistake by sharing too much because she doesn't seem interested in sharing with me, which makes me feel like she's gathering information to use it against me. So you got to keep men in that trance. Remember, I told you at the very beginning, you're wet by words, right? That's part of the spell you're going to cast on him. That's part of the enchantment that you're going to use on him to get him spilling. You don't want to take him out of that enchantment by letting him know that you're not here to share yourself. You want him to feel like this is a heart to heart, but you don't actually want to give him real ammunition that he can use against you. Okay? So I know it sounds very manipulative and very fake because I'm saying fake share. It is, but we're here to get you what you want. Okay? And there's a strategy to everything, including this, and including getting men to reveal their intentions to you. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Right? Kubi says, I'm looking for the man that walks on water because his turtle flew in the air and he was eating for sleep. Exactly. They'll just be like, what? What does that even mean? And you'll be like, don't you get it? That's exactly what I want. And they'll have no real information. It's perfect. I know it feels very sneaky. It is sneaky. But what I also want you to understand is this strategy isn't just a strategy that only you can use as a woman. And this strategy is a strategy that works on human beings overall. So understand that a lot of you who have been played before by men have actually got this strategy used on you before, where they'll be sharing with you, having a heart-to-heart with you, and you won't realize that this heart-to-heart isn't really him sharing anything real about himself. It's just him listening to you trauma dump and share about yourself. But in reality, the things that he's sharing aren't very detailed or specific about him. But you don't realize that until the heart-to-heart is over and you don't have any real information. Okay? Does that make sense? The real Vivia says, at this point, if you're playing the game and you're gonna game the system, you need to have this stuff written down. Hey, that's why we're here on the whiteboard. It's really like class because it becomes so detailed. We can't just talk about it. I got to write stuff down. You got to be taking notes. If you're really serious, you're taking notes, okay? If you're really, really serious about getting this down and understanding this, because you'll become so much more enlightened when you go out on dates, and things that used to be very confusing for you will be so much clearer and easier to respond to and deal with, okay? Let's hop into point number 4. That I want us all to be on the same page about. So let me make sure I have enough space here. Okay, so we're going to discuss body reassurance. So something interesting here we're going to put down here. You have your words here. We're going to have your face here. And then we're going to have your triangle body. If I knew how to draw a nice Coke body, trust me, Chad, I would, but I don't know how to draw a nice Coke body. We can even draw your little booty here. I don't know how to draw booties, whatever. Anyways, this is your body and your booty. Who cares? Whatever. Today you have curly hair, whatever. Vibes. That's the vibes today. Okay? 4C curls for you, or 4B. Right. All right. So you got your words here. You got your face here. And then you got your body with your nice big dump truck. All right. Now, what relevance does any of this have? Okay. See, remember what we talked about at the beginning, earlier in the show, about creating a safe space and creating an environment that allows him to feel like this is a place where I should be sharing more, because as I'm sharing more, not only is she turned on, but she's on my side seeing my perspective, right? So your words, right, which you're trying to create a safe space. But you have to understand that in order for this to work properly, your face also has to create a safe space. And subsequently, also, your body has to create a safe space, right? Because all of these things have to be in alignment in order for what you're trying to do to work properly. So why is this point called body reassurance? Because this is one of the major places you can start to make a lot of mistakes when trying to get a guy to reveal his interest to you. Body reassurance is so important to getting guys to actually be honest with you about who they are, what they're here for, and what they've been through, instead of giving you this curated story time about how, you know, they're Prince Charming and all they've ever wanted to do was be in love with the love of their life. Okay, sounds good in a movie. A lot of times that's not really what a guy's real intentions are. So creating a safe space, not just about discussing it, not just about saying you're open and you want to hear what he has to say. It's about understanding that as he's actually telling you these things, I know when you start to listen and hear guys say some things, you're actually going to be shocked about how well this starts to work. So as you're applying what we talk about and discuss here, you're fake sharing, you're asking good questions, you're looking inquisitive like you care, oh my God, you're seducing me by telling me all these things about yourself, he's going to start spilling and spilling and spilling. Then you're going to start realizing how well this strategy is working. And he's going to start telling you some things that you never in a million years thought someone would reveal to you on a first date. And some of the things that he's going to tell you will be shocking to you in nature. Okay, they're going to be graphic to you in nature, like they have those warnings on TV shows. As he's telling you these things, though, you have to make sure that your face and your body is in alignment with the safe space that you're trying to create. What do I mean by that? Do not make the mistake of, as a guy is telling you and revealing to you what his intentions are. So did I say interest, right? What his intentions are to you. Don't make the mistake of having your face scrunched up. He's telling you, so yeah, I actually did cheat on my ex when I went on a work trip. And you're like, and your reaction is making him feel like, oh, you said this was a safe space, but now that I actually tell you something that I'm either embarrassed about, I'm not fond of, a mistake that I've made, I'm seeing through your body language, right? Because body language is the face and the body, that you don't actually approve of what I just told you, or you feel a way of what I just told you, or you have a particular judgment or opinion of what I just told you. That is horrible for you and what you're trying to accomplish, because that will also make men shut down. Okay? And once they shut down because they don't feel it's safe to actually tell you, like you're not actually on their side, you won't get any truthful information. And this is something that you don't just do on one date. This is something you do on multiple dates, and you continue gathering as much information as you possibly can. So when he's telling you the story about how he cheated on his ex, you have to, I know this is going to sound really strange and weird. You got to practice that keeping a neutral face, or practice what it feels like to keep the face of, oh, I'm interested in what you're saying, and not be affected body language wise by him telling you something that you don't want to hear. Okay? And I know this is going to sound very, very weird, because you're thinking, well, Thompson, I'm just being honest about how I feel and my honest reaction to what he's telling me. The problem is your honest reaction to what he's telling you is telling him something. And then when he pulls back on the information he's going to give you, or he decides that now instead of telling you the whole truth, he's going to twist it and tell you a lie, you actually end up losing because you wanted to give him an honest reaction. Because now that he tells you a lie, you don't get to know the truth about who he really is until you actually have to find that out by dating him yourself. So I say that to say, on your dates, you actually have to focus on when he tells me something that I don't like, or I don't appreciate, or I don't agree with, my demeanor, my body language, and my face language is still body language, is still gonna be, oh, I'm turned on, I'm listening to you, you're interesting, and I understand you, okay, right? Even if you don't necessarily agree, you don't have to lie and say, I completely agree with your actions, okay? That's gonna seem a little bit weird and unnatural. What you wanna focus more on is, as you're telling me this, even if you tell me that you went on a cheating spree and you cheated every day for 365 days on your girlfriend, you want to say, okay, explain to me your thought process. Why did you do that? How did you get to that point? What transpired in your relationship that brought you there? Try your best to understand his perspective. And as he explains to you his perspective, what you want to adopt is, even if I don't agree, I'm not going to change my body language. I'm not going to change, have my face scrunched up or look as if I'm not open to hearing what he has to say, right? I'm going to look open to what he has to say and open to understanding him, okay? That way my words, that this is a safe space, my face is in line with that this is a safe space, and my body is in line with that this is a safe space. Here's another little bit of a pro tip, right? We talked about the face, looking in the eyes, making sure that you're looking like you're paying attention and you're actually fascinated by what he's saying. Body language as well. You don't want to have your arms crossed as he's telling you things. Okay? He's sharing with you information and your arms are crossed like this and you're kind of staring at him intensely. That looks a lot like you're judging, right? You want to have open body language, right? You want to be leaned in. Another thing that you might make the mistake of is, as he's talking to you and you start to be very aggravated or agitated with what he's telling you, you go from being leaned in to sitting back and looking very disinterested and creating space between you guys when he starts to tell you things that you don't like to hear. You're also giving him a lot of nonverbal signals that you don't approve of what he's telling you. okay? So make sure that you keep that leaned in, open, interested body language throughout the duration of the conversation or the date. Even if he's telling you a million things that you don't want to hear and a million different ways that he cheated on his ex or his last girlfriend or his wife, okay? You wait till the end of your date to gather all of the information. And then once you leave the date, you can say, perfect. Now I know everything I needed to know. And I know it's painful because as you're hearing it, you're like, Tomisin, I got on this date. Because I know this is one of the things that you don't want to happen. You're like, Tomisin, I got on this date. This guy, he was 6'3", jacked, muscles out of the iotas, okay? His t-shirt was stretching. He looked like a beast. I wanted him to penetrate himself inside of me so deep, and he was so sexy. Then when he started talking and I was using your stupid technique, Tomisin, he started telling me all these things that I didn't want to hear, and he was turning me off. I needed him to shut up. Because every time he would say another word or say another sentence, I was realizing that I don't actually want to be with him. And I hate that. So I needed him to shut up. So I just wanted to move on from that conversation so I wouldn't be turned off anymore. Okay? That is a mistake. I know it sucks to be super attracted to a guy and then have him open his mouth and then you're no longer attracted to him. But I promise you, it's actually for your benefit. Because one way or another, you are going to realize and see those things. So the idea that you want to go into your date and you want to stay in your fantasy for as long as possible, you're only actually hurting yourself with that mindset. Okay? So don't have that mind frame that, I just want to keep him hot, keep him sexy to me, and I don't want him to tell me too much about his past, that he won't be hot and sexy to me anymore. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. You will put yourself in a horrible position by doing that, okay? You find a guy super hot. Instead of you finding a guy super hot and wanting him to talk less, the first thing you should do when you find a guy super hot, super attractive to you, is get him to open his mouth lots, okay? Tell him to tell you lots, everything about his life. And I promise you, he'll be slightly less attractive to you after a while, but that's good because then you can breathe a little bit. Then you can actually come back to earth a little bit and you can understand that he is just a human being who makes mistakes, okay? That's actually one of the key elements to dating men who are attractive. Get them to open their mouth, get them to tell you who they really are. It'll make them a little bit less attractive, right? It'll make you less mesmerized by them. Then you can start treating them as a human being and less as if they're a god, okay? As if they're some sort of figure that has never existed before. It's good for you. Because then you can operate from a place of logic and be more observant of real behavior rather than living in a fantasy land. Living in a fantasy land will never do you any good. Never. Okay? Never. I don't care how good it makes you feel. I don't care how nice it sounds at the beginning. Living in a fantasy land don't do you no favors. Never. Okay? Get to know the real man as soon as painfully possible. Okay? All right, let's hop into point number 5. Point number 5, very, very important process to showing people that you're listening to them, all right? Okay, point number 5 here. You're going to repeat back. So we're going to draw you here. Or sorry, we'll draw the guy first. He's got semi-large head. Weird body. Maybe he does weird workouts. Okay. Then we have you here. You have a large head. Not a lot of brain, though. I'm just joking. Large brain. Large brain and a large head. And a large forehead. It's okay. All right. So we have you here. And, we have to draw your dump truck. Every day I get worse at this. That looks like a diaper. You got a BBL today, all right? Okay, all right. So you have the man here, right? And you have you here. And here's the thing. What we want to do here is we want to give a feedback loop that helps you look as if you're actually paying attention, okay? Chat, this is what the kids are doing now. It's the BBL. You know the BBL that looks like a full diaper? Yeah, that's the one that you have today. Okay, don't make fun of my drawing. This is actually very realistic. This is hyper realism on the board. All right. So what you want to be doing, he's telling you things about himself, right? He might say something to you like, I was sad, so I cheated, okay? All right, let's just say, for example, he's telling you that. So he's telling you, I was so sad that I cheated on my ex-girlfriend. I was in such a sad, tragic place, okay? And let's draw this here. Let's draw this down here so it's better to see. Want to make this nice and visually appealing. I was sad, so I cheated. Now, what you want to return to him from your full diaper here, you want to return to him as you're having conversation with him and talking to him back and forth. You want to start repeating back to him the perspective that he said he had. So remember when I talked to you about it being kind of like a war, and when he's talking about his past relationships or past experiences, you want to make it seem like you see his perspective and you're on his side, fighting the battle alongside him so that he can continue to share with you more secrets. The same thing in a practical sense you're going to be doing here, right? So you're going to be in the process of when you're asking him questions and having conversations with him, you're going to be saying back to him, you were sad, so you cheated. Okay. Now, the reason that I actually want you doing this is because it's a great way to show the guy that you're getting to reveal his intentions to you. It's a great way to help him understand that you're listening, you're aware of what he's saying, you're absorbing it, and you're actually seeing his perspective. Okay, someone said marrying him. Yes, it's like that to an extent. And in this case, you're showing him that I actually can see what you're saying. And I understand the point of view that you have. So as you're talking, so for example, he's saying, yeah, so basically with my last ex, we were going through this really rough patch and I went on this job trip and then, I cheated on her because we were in a really bad place. You then repeat back to him because he's going to yap. Then there's going to be a little bit of space for you to then return and start talking as well. You're going to use this as a way to show him, I understand you. Oh, so you were telling me that you went on this work trip and in the process of that, you got really sad about your relationship and that caused you to cheat. So can you help me understand when you were there, how long was that happening for? How many days had you guys not been speaking for? Was it 24? Was it 1 month? How were you feeling during that time? Okay. You see how I repeat the statement back to you, right? I repeat the perspective back to you, and then I lead that right into my next question. Because this process of getting a guy to reveal his interest in you or in a relationship is not just about asking him one question and expecting him to spill everything. It's about understanding that you're going to ask a question and you're going to ask a follow-up question to that question and a follow-up question to that question. And the conversation is going to flow where he's going to feel like you're having a conversation, but he's not going to realize that it's really just him talking and sharing. Okay? I promise you, this sounds very silly, but I promise you, when you start doing this right, guys won't even realize that they've spent the last hour or 2 hours just talking about themselves, okay? And I'm telling you this as someone who uses these techniques myself, right? In talking to people. They'll be like talking and yapping, and then 2 hours down the line, they'll say, you haven't shared anything about yourself. I've been talking about me for the past 2 hours, and I'll say, oh, sorry, time's up, I gotta go, okay? And it's very sneaky, but it works so well. Because when you can get people in a trance and you can get them feeling understood, okay, that's the main point. Make them feel understood, it's very hard to stop that cycle of wanting to share and share more with someone who you finally feel like understands you, okay? As human beings, one of the things we crave the most outside of connection and love is to feel understood, which is kind of part of connection and love. So when we actually go on a date with someone that we feel like for the first time they actually understand us, it feels so much more comforting to continue sharing and talking to that person from an honest, real perspective. And a lot of times when you can do this so well, even guys that came on a date with you with the intention to lie to you and deceive you and trick you will start accidentally treating you like a best friend and sharing with you all the things that they never thought they would be sharing with you. Because they'll start to think like, oh, this person really sees me. This person really understands me. This person doesn't judge me, even though you are judging him. And even though you're taking in all that information, he doesn't have to know all that. And as you're doing that, you continue to get more and more information. You continue to reinforce the idea that you understand him, you see him, you feel him, you see his perspective, and he continues to share and share more with you. And so the feedback loop continues until the 2-hour, 3-hour date goes all the way through, and he spent the whole time talking about himself, telling you about his life and his real intentions, not only with you and dating you, but his intentions in life and how he wants to build or not build, how serious or unserious he is, how direction or directionless he is. And now that you have all this information that's real and true, you get to go back home, and instead of going back home and being confused because you spent all that time in a fantasy land, you go back home and you're very clear on who this guy is, what he's really about, and if you even want to be entertaining a guy like that, which is a much better place to be in, okay? So does that make sense to you guys so far in all those 5 points, all right? For those of you who are on TikTok and you're watching the show, maybe you came a little bit late, you can always go onto my YouTube channel, which is just my name, Tomisin, Tomisin. I'm pointing on the top right corner of the screen because that's my YouTube, that's my name, you can get it there. Type it in on YouTube and you'll be able to see me live there, and you can just rewind all the points from the very beginning and get all of the information that we talked about in today's show, okay? So for any of you that missed it. Now, do you guys have any questions about the 5 that we discussed? Okay, very, very important. This strategy will get you a lot of good things and give you a whole lot of good information. Cindy says, then he falls in love too fast. Perfectly fine. You get a man who falls in love with you too fast, well, you got all the power now. And having power is very, very good. Very, very good. Flower says, it's getting clarification layer upon layer nonstop. So brilliant. It is. And that's why we have all these points, and when you use them all together, it's a trance that is unavoidable. And I'm telling you this as someone who actually practices this and implements this myself. It is, you might think to yourself, because we're strategizing like this and we're having conversation about it, you might think, oh, it'll be so obvious when I go on a date and do it. It won't be. Trust me, it won't be. And even people themselves will be shocked at how much they share with you when they don't actually know you. And I have people tell me that all the time. They'll tell me after a conversation with me, I have never shared any of that with even my best friends. I just told you a whole bunch of stuff that I haven't even told my best girlfriends or my mother or my sister, right? And I'll be like, oh, I wonder why. Maybe it's just my vibe, okay? You just pretend like you don't know. It's just my vibe, I guess. We just vibe so well. People love vibes, okay? Pretend like you don't know what the reason is, right? Pretend like there's no strategy. That's the best way to go about it. And people just get in a trance of spilling to you, and it's perfect. You get so much information, you're never confused, right? That's part of the Players Club. It's one of the great parts, because as we build all these strategies and you get to implement them, you stop being confused all the time. In fact, things become so clear and so obvious to you, you're like, why didn't I do this more before? Why couldn't I learn this more before? Because now I walk around with absolute clarity. I don't have anxiety. I don't have to worry about how people feel about me or where I stand. I actually have all the answers. And so the lack of confusion makes me so much more confident in myself. And when I go into relationships, I'm not always so worried that someone's going to play me or trick me, because I actually know how to get real information from people. Okay. Dr. Erica says, what's the title of this on the YouTube? It's titled How to Get Men to Reveal Their Intentions. Okay, so it'll be the latest live stream that you see there when you go onto my YouTube channel. You'll also see me live at the same time, because I didn't say that before, but I'm live on YouTube right now. So you guys see me on TikTok, I'm also live on YouTube right now at the same time. It's a crazy technology these days. All right. Cindy says, believe me, these strategies work like magic. It does. It does. And I'm telling you, as someone, I use these strategies every single day, and I get people to yap away for hours on end without ever revealing anything about myself, and they don't even realize it. A lot of times people don't even call it out because they don't even realize it. People love yapping and feeling understood. right? Nell says, this is taking all my anxiety about talking to men away. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. We want you in a relaxed state, feeling confident when you go out on dates, feeling like you know exactly what you're going to do, how you're going to approach this. And that's the amazing part about strategy. A lot of people say, you shouldn't have no strategy with love. This is too much work, blah, 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 blah. See, but when you have strategy, you lose a lot of that anxiety because you know what you came here to do. You know how you're going to execute that. And that strategy allows you to be so much more confident when you get on the date. And what do you think confidence does? It makes you more attractive, right? PH says, I don't know how to handle that power very well. If he falls for me before I know how to feel, I find it hard if I'm responding for my sake or his out of concern that I'll lose him. So this is something that you're going to have to work on your own time, because so what you're essentially saying is, when someone likes me a lot more than I like them, it worries me because I don't know what to do with that. But that's actually the position you should strive to be in. And I know it sounds horrible, but when someone likes you more than you like them, then you get to decide, do I want to invest myself in you? And you get to make decisions about the people you invest in from a whole much more logical and analytical standpoint. Not saying you can't have emotions involved or like someone back, but what I'm saying is, when that person likes you so much that they want to make you happy, especially as a woman, where you have a man who pursues you and does things for you because of how much he wants to make you happy, it's so much easier to be in your feminine. Because you're in your masculine most when you're chasing after men, when you're having anxiety about whether they like you or not, where you want to figure out, what does he feel this day? Does he want to be with me? Why is he ignoring me? Why is he not talking to me? And you can get so comfortable, or so used to, I should say, being in that masculine, anxious state, that when you're finally allowed to be in your feminine state and you have a guy pursuing you, you're kind of like, I don't know what to do here. I feel weird that I don't have anxiety. I know exactly how you feel about me. I know a lot about you. I'm not confused. This is weird. There's no confusion here. I don't have to chase. And now that you're in a place that you're not used to being in, now you start to feel weirdly uncomfortable, if that makes any sense. But doesn't make you a bad person, but you just have to understand it actually stems from being used to being in that anxious state of chasing after someone else, right? So having that power, there ain't nothing wrong with having that power. Blair says, I wonder if you can use the opportunity to vet if you know for sure 100% that you do not want to go further with them. No. Class. Okay. Anytime you meet a guy, actually, I'm glad you said that, Blair. Anytime you meet a guy that you come to the realization, because this can happen sometimes, you go out on a date with a guy for the first time, and as the date is going on, like halfway through, you're like, oh, I'm never gonna date you. I'm never gonna make you a boyfriend. You could never be a husband. I could never even take you seriously. Sometimes you'll go on a date and you'll realize that halfway through, sometimes even 10 minutes in. If you realize that at some point in the date, right, you can enjoy the rest of your food or whatever if you're, having, a good time eating the food or whatever the case may be. But you do not take this opportunity to say, well, I'm just going to have fun here. After that date is the last date, okay? Once you come to that realization that a guy is not who you're looking for, you don't then say, I'm going to turn this into a fun situation where we'll just have fun, okay? You also don't say, this is an opportunity for me to just tell you about my life, trauma dump on you because I never plan on actually dating you. Never do that. Never adopt the mindset that who cares, I'll just do whatever now since this relationship doesn't matter. I've helped hundreds of you, okay? Through private questions, even Discord questions, all type of questions. I'm telling you, 100% of the time, every single time, okay? It bats 100%, it never misses. Every time you adopt the mindset, who cares, he's not gonna be a boyfriend anyways, I'm not gonna take it that serious. What will happen is, as time goes on, You continue saying, I'm not going to make it serious. It's not going to be serious. Then you have fun with the guy. Then you enjoy spending time with the guy. Everything is not serious, no pressure, no serious, not serious, not serious. After a while of it being not serious and the months going by where it's not a big deal and you don't care to date him, you start saying, well, it was not serious, but I kind of like you now. Well, it's not serious, but I don't like the fact that you're saying you're going on dates with other people. Well, it wasn't very serious, but I want to be treated like a priority. It doesn't work like that. And you will find yourself very frustrated when you say it's not that serious because you don't even see any potential in him anyways. Then you go ahead and continue sleeping with him or just doing a we'll just have fun type of thing. And then down the line, you're frustrated because now you want it to be more than fun. Now you want to feel like a priority. You ain't going to feel like a priority with the guy you just having fun with, okay? You might feel like a priority for a little bit while you're having fun, but rest assured, there will come a point where his attention and focus will go on someone else. Then it stops being fun, doesn't it? And when it stops being fun because you don't feel like the priority anymore, it's going to be very difficult to return back to feeling like the priority. Because then you're going to be pushing, you're going to be trying to force him to see you and want you and treat you like the priority, and he's going to be pulling away. And you're going to become more desperate to get his attention, and he's going to pull away more. And then you're in a horrible situation, and you're asking me 55 private questions because you want to figure out how to undo your situation that you wound up yourself. Okay? By the way, that reminds me, I didn't mention it. For those of you who have a private question for me that you want me to answer because you have a situation maybe unrelated to this show about a guy that you're talking to or a guy that you're in a relationship with or even married to, we have all types of situations. You can come to me and you can ask me your private question. That is available by going to the link in my bio if you're on TikTok or the link in my description if you're on YouTube. Click that link and then see where it says private relationship advice. Okay, private relationship advice. Click that link. You can send me a message. You can type out as many paragraphs as you want. You can ask me a private question. I respond with a voice message, and it's usually around 8 to 10 minutes long, very detailed, very structured and specific for you, and no one else sees your message, just between me and you. So if you want to submit one to me in order for me to answer you or advise you on how you should go about this or give you some perspective, maybe that you weren't able to get from friends or whatever the case may be, you can always ask me a private question. That hotline is available 24/7, and I'm caught up. You know, I know it's Christmas time, so I made sure to catch up on all my private questions, so it don't take me very long to answer them. Yesterday, I answered a private question. It took me less than 24 hours. It took me like 3 hours because I'm so up to date now. Okay, I see them and I does them. I'm not behind anymore, all right? So you can always ask me a private question that way, all right? Mandy says, I'm in a nearly 4-week pull away on my part giving, on your part, giving him the silent treatment. Good. Continue it that way. And if he never, makes the effort to approach you or reach out to you, then you know how he really feels. Okay. Chris says the private hotline is so nice of you. It's because I know a lot of you have different situations and questions. And obviously I want to answer as many as I can. So it's hard to do that when we're here. Okay. So I do that for you guys, that you guys can answer your question in whatever situation that you're in. And a lot of people use that, which is why I say when you do some of these things wrong, you'll put yourself in a position where you're like, Tomisin, how do I undo all of this? And then you start asking me a bunch of private questions. Okay. PH says, I sometimes lie to myself that there's potential, so I am tempted to play and gather there is no way to rewind. You can't, and you never want to continue on a relationship from the standpoint of, oh, I don't think that he's the right one for me, but I'll continue this anyways. Anytime you have that realization, whether it be on a date or in the process of dating him, going on multiple dates, once you have that realization that this is not a guy that I would actually want to be with, you just go ahead and you end that relationship. Okay? That's why I say it's actually quite easy to not have a roster if you adopt that mindset, right? Because if you adopt the mindset that as soon as I see a guy who is not showing me what I want in a serious relationship, I immediately just cut him off. I don't keep guys around who aren't what I'm looking for because I just want to have multiple men, okay? So whether you choose to have a roster or not, what I want you to do is I want you to focus on if a guy is part of my life and I'm investing in him or even going on dates with him, am I seeing what I expect to see from him in a man who I actually want to get married to? If the answer to that is no, or the answer to that is I don't see him actually having those qualities, then you go ahead and you stop talking to that man, plain and simple. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. All right, chat, let's hop into our next segment of the day. Our next segment is going to be our React segment. I'm going to be reacting to TikTok videos around the universe. What was that on the screen? I'm going to be reacting to TikTok videos around the universe of life, love, and relationships that all of you beautiful people send to me. And as we get ready for that segment, okay, I'm going to prepare and clean up and move my stuff in so that we can actually do this properly, get my headphones on. While I do that, we're going to listen to a little bit of an intermission video, which comes from Mr. Stefan Speaks. Stefan Speaks is going to be talking to us about signs a man is already in a relationship. Maybe some of you need to hear this. And while he talks about that, I'm going to clean up and I'm going to join you all momentarily for our Reacts segment of the show. Mr. Stefan Speaks, take it away.
Man was already in a relationship. Or you might just be thinking all about the ways he lied to you, tricked you, played you. Whatever it is, you're now in a messed up situation you never wished you got yourself into or found yourself in, okay? And so I want to help make sure that story does not happen to you. I want to help you avoid some of these pitfalls because unfortunately, yes, there are many situations. I'm not going to say it's like super all over the place, but there are many situations where a woman finds herself dating a man who is already in a relationship or married, okay? And there are some signs that you can be aware of that will help you understand what you're dealing with. Now, let me make it very clear. I do not want you to listen to these signs and the minute you see one of them, you're like, yep, that's it. He's dating someone else or he's already in a relationship. Don't just run to that conclusion. Again, you use that sign as an issue for you to address with the man and see how he handles it, how he addresses it, if he corrects the problem, all right? If not, okay, then this might be, it is what it is. Now, I will say, if you see multiple of these signs in a situation, then the chances that he's dating someone else has increased exponentially. But again, we just don't want to run to that negative just from the jump, all right? So, and let me just say, I feel the need to say, if any of you are going through that or just went through that, I just want to say, I pray that you do not allow that situation to keep you in a place where you don't trust love anymore. And for some of you, maybe even no longer trusting God. I want you to understand that though that unfortunate situation may have happened to you, that does not represent all men. That doesn't represent what is out there waiting for you. So stay encouraged, keep your head up, heal, but know that better can come. But to help make sure we don't end up back there, let's get through some of these signs. And so one of the top signs to look for that'll tell you that a man is already in a relationship or already married is that he always disappears around the same time. So I want to be careful when I say this, but structure in a man's life can be a great thing, right? But when that structure seems to lead to him always being gone at certain times, you have to pay close attention. Now, it doesn't automatically mean, again, that person is dating someone else. So, for example, I know for me, I'm very strict with my morning routine. I'm very strict with my nighttime routine. I noticed in the past where if I allow myself to be on the phone too late at night, I struggle to fall asleep. And so because of that, I will have a cutoff time when it comes to talking for the most part. However, even though I have that structure and I'm very strict with it, there is a level of flexibility here and there, right? But when you're dealing with someone it's always around the same time now they're gone, now they're unavailable, I would say at least investigate. Ask some questions. What's going on here? Why is this person never able to be flexible within that time? Now, Of course, one of the reasonable times.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Stephen Speaks. We're going to hop into our next segment here, chat.
So I had the best.
All right, so you want to hear?
Let me just bring this up for all of you. Okay. There we go.
Here's something completely sick and sadistic that men do. I'm going to be honest. If you understand this one core concept about men, you will understand the psychology of men overall. And this is a big secret. The guys are going to hate me for sharing this. Listen, if you're getting out of a breakup right now, there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is you're feeling the weight of this breakup a lot more than the guy is. In fact, he's probably out there partying, talking to girls, living the single life. And you're sitting there watching him post on Instagram and have fun, and you're just like, what the hell? Like, what's even going on? Does this guy even like me anymore? We dated for multiple years, and now all of a sudden this guy's out there partying, enjoying life to the fullest. And here's the truth, because men typically wait and hold off their emotions for the first 3 months. It can sometimes be longer, but usually the average is around 3 months. So with this in mind, usually after the 3-month mark, you're gonna start to see the guy start to desperately post on Instagram to try to get your attention. He's gonna be posting things like him with girls, him at the club, him doing just all these crazy things, because again, the effort is to get your attention. He's gonna be doing everything possible to try to get you to go creep on him on Instagram, on social media, or send him that message that he's long been waiting for. And by that 3-month mark, usually women have just completely gotten over it. And then that feeling starts to settle in for guys. They're laying there, it's like 1 a.m, they can't sleep, they're tossing and turning, they're like, wait a minute, it's only been 3 months and she's already over it. And again, that's usually because women just process everything right away. They're way more mature about things and how they actually process their feelings. And then it's just way easier for girls to move on after 3 months. But the guys, they struggle. They struggle a lot. It could be years for a guy before he even gets over that relationship. And the first 3 months, it looked like he was partying, living life to the fullest. Now, the one thing that you should expect as a woman from a guy is usually around this stage, he will probably give in to his emotions and he'll probably text you. They always come back. And if he doesn't, it's usually because he just found someone better for him. And that's nothing against you. It's usually for the best. So yeah, if he doesn't text you, he found someone else. If he does text you, he realized that the grass isn't always greener. Use this information as you wish and have an amazing day. All right, so
I agree with that 100%. That guys will use social media. They're not dumb. They'll use social media as a way to trigger you to see how good that they're doing, especially if it's a situation where you've kind of realized that you have more self-worth than to deal with what he's been giving you. He's going to kind of use that as bait to say, hey, remember me? Look how much fun I'm having. I'm going out. I'm around other girls. Doesn't that hurt your feelings? And you got to make sure you don't react. You never react, no matter what he posts, no matter whether he's posting himself dancing on a girl. I don't care if he posts himself laid up in the bed with someone else, okay? You don't for any reason respond, lose your mind, send him a message, don't call him. Because all of that stuff is like a version of a little bit of a power play. He wants to show you how much you need him, that even when you break up, you're the one that's going to fold and send him a message. And then as soon as you do that, I promise you, as soon as you do that, he might message you back, and just, talk to you or chat with you. But once he gets his ego boost, that's all he really needed. Okay. And a lot of times you'll even have guys reach out to you personally for that same reason. They just want to see if they still have the control over you, that you'll respond. Once you respond, that's all they needed. And then they go back to doing what they were doing before. Okay.
It's simple. He don't like you. He don't call you. He don't like you. He don't keep his word. He don't like you. He's inconsistent. He has someone else. He only calls you when he wants something. He's using you. He starts random arguments. He's cheating on you. He's not investing in you. You're not worth the investment. Never met his family. You're not the one. Been with your guy 5+ years. No ring. No marriage. He's still searching. You're a placeholder. Men are not complicated. They're very easy to know. Men don't talk with their words. They talk with their actions. It's simple. He don't like you. He don't call you. He don't like you. He don't keep his word. He don't like you.
The way she's saying it is just funny. But there's a lot of truth to this. And I know we always say actions speak louder than words. So what does that really mean? Obviously, it is a little bit more complex than that in terms of breaking down different situations that you might come across. But to take what you should take away from this is a lot of times you can end up gaslighting yourself into feeling like you're confused because you're just not sure of what he actually wants, when he's actually kind of making it obvious what he actually wants, which is not you, which is why he's very unsure. And so you have to take it all the same. Whether he's unsure because he's unsure of where he wants to be in his life, or he's unsure because he's unsure of, since he had just got out of a breakup with his last ex, any version of those unsures just means don't waste your time. Okay? Got to become very stingy with your time. Okay?
All right, y'all. I am here to tell you that the men are not okay. So I went on a date with this guy on Friday, and y'all, let me tell you about this date. So he got tickets to a comedy show, and he picked me up around 8 o'clock. Cool. We get to the comedy show. We're there about an hour early, and he says he's hungry, and we're right across the street from a taco spot. So he's like, let's go get tacos. I'm like, cool. Now, mind you, to give you a little context, he bought the comedy show tickets. They were $25 each. So he paid for that. We get to the taco spot. I wasn't that hungry, so he ordered 3 tacos and I ordered 1 because I wasn't very hungry. So we get the tacos and we sit down at the table and, we're just...
Y'all probably wouldn't like going to get tacos after a comedy club. Huh? Y'all probably don't like spicy food, probably. Be too spicy for you.
Chatting, just talking, whatever. And he has 2 cups in his hands that the cashier had given him. And he's like, oh, let's go get some drinks. Let's go get our drinks. And I'm like, oh, okay, do you actually mind just grabbing me a water? And y'all, after I asked him if he could grab me a water, his face completely changed. His energy completely changed. And I said to him, I was like, are you okay? Like, is something wrong? Like, what's happening here? And he puts the cups, like he pushes the cups towards me. And he goes, why don't you go get us some water? And again, I'm hella confused. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm just like, sure, I can go get some water, but I'm confused. Like, am I missing something? Like, I'm genuinely confused. And he goes, why don't both of us go get drinks? And I'm like, okay, like, I'm again genuinely confused. I have no idea why this is happening, but we get up, we go get water, or we go get drinks, and we sit back down at the booth. So we get to the booth, and this man says, I have a question for you. Are you the kind of woman that is going to, serve your man? I said, what? He said, are you the kind of woman that caters to your man? Is that something that you do? And I said to him, why are you asking me this question? I'm confused. Why are you asking me this question? Did I miss something? And then he goes, well, I'm treating you to the state, like I bought us the comedy show tickets, I paid for the tacos. And again, mind you, y'all, he got 3 tacos and I got 1. He said, I paid for the tacos, I'm treating you, and it just feels like you haven't really contributed anything.
Chat, what part of the world do you think the guy that she went on a date with is from based on her description? I'm just curious. What country do you think this guy is from based on how she's talking?
To the state. And he goes on to talk about how he was offended that I asked him to grab me a water. Y'all, I started seeing black. I started seeing black.
You mean red?
I said, this is not real life. Y'all, when this man was done telling me what was in his heart and crashing out, I said, are you finished? And he said, yes. I picked up my purse and I walked out. I got an Uber and I went home. All right.
That's how you do it. That's textbook. The only thing that's textbook. Let him talk.
And it just feels like you
let him crash out. Let him tell you. It's actually it perfectly aligns with what we talked about today. Let him crash out. Let him tell you exactly what he feels, exactly how he thinks relationships should be, exactly the dynamic he wants, exactly what he expects. And you just sit there and you say, oh, interesting. Oh, that's how you feel. Oh, okay, okay. Good to hear. And then when you realize that this is not going to work out and this is not at all the type of guy that you want in your life, you don't argue with him, right? Don't argue with him. There's no need to. His views are his views. You want to go on a date and you want to argue with the guy you're on a date on? It's a waste of your time. Just gather the information, hear enough that you need to hear. And then once you realize, oh, I would never talk to you ever again. Then you get up and then you just go about your business and you never speak to him again. Right? It's actually a very simple thing. I think sometimes, you can get caught up in, see, when you go out on a date, when you come with the expectation that I'm going out on a date with someone and this has to work out, your mind frame when it starts falling apart is I need to save this. You don't need to save nothing. All you need to do is figure out who the person you're on a date is actually. And then once you figure that out, you then decide, do I want to continue seeing this person or talking to this person? And if your answer is no, then do yourself a favor and don't waste any more of your time. Don't say to yourself. So notice what she said here. She didn't say to herself,
real life.
She didn't say to herself, I'm going to sit here and just use this as an opportunity to have fun, even though I would never actually date him.
Y'all, when this man was done telling me what was in his heart and crashing out, I said, are you finished? And he said, yes. I picked up my purse and I walked out. I got an Uber and I went home.
Perfect. Don't need to mess with him. Don't need to have more conversation with him. Don't need to convince him that his way of living life or his approaches should be different or, you see it this way or whatever the case may be. When you have an extreme difference in an approach to life and relationships like that, that's not like we can come to some sort of compromise type of thing or some sort of understanding type of thing. That's just a difference in who you are fundamentally. So you kind of have to be able to differentiate between those two things when you're meeting people versus, things you can compromise on versus things you should be aligned on. Okay. I'm not saying that him saying that, he wants his woman to cater to him means that he's a bad person or whatever the case may be. But I will say that it is misaligned for him to have that expectation of someone he just met. And if a guy, I'll be honest, if a guy is that focused on that early on, then you're probably dealing with someone who is not going to be very fun to be around. I'll just say it like that, because that is just an unrealistic amount of investment to expect someone to have in you from meeting you right at the jump. That just because you take them out on a date, you can't get up and get them a cup of water. That's supposed to be your woman. So if you're that manosphere, you're that red pilled, you're that, super hyper masculine man, go date a man. Okay. Then you guys can both fight over who gets the water, whatever
black.
the case.
I started seeing black. Yo, he got 3 tacos.
Side note, anytime you date a guy who is really against treating their woman or doing things for their woman, go ahead and just don't waste your time and date someone else. Because the reality of it is, if a man is still in his obsessed state that he can't do nothing for paying for women to do anything, paying for her date is always, that's, you're simping. If you do anything for a woman, that's simping. If you care about a woman, that's simping. If you talk about your emotions, that's simping. If you do any, just go, oh, I understand exactly what you mean. Oh, that's how you feel. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then you just never speak to him again. Guys who are in that state can't be convinced to do anything for you. And you'll be suffering if you try and build a relationship with those men. Let those men date men. They'll go party with men. You want to know what's funny? The first thing that those men do when they go to a party with all guys, all manosphere man meet men, right? They say, where are the women at? They're gone. They didn't want to be with you. So
I think y'all failed to underestimate how cold a woman can actually be once she mentally detaches from a relationship. See, when she disconnects from that relationship, all hope is lost. And she's never going to be that girl that you once had before. She's not going to be lovey-dovey and affectionate and doing things for you because you had that chance at one point in time and you used it and you completely wasted her time. So now you're going to get the cold version of her, the one that is not interested at all, the one that has built up resentment, and someone that just really does not care for the relationship anymore. And see, women are completely different from guys. See, mentally, they will detach from the relationship probably 6 months before the relationship actually ends. And they will do that and get tired and tired of having to tell you time after time of how they should be treated and what to be treated. And you see, a woman will treat you how she wants to be treated, and then she will treat you how you treat her. So,
but don't do this though. Okay. Great video he has, great explanation, but like, don't do this. Meaning, don't keep yourself in a situation that you know isn't serving you, and you're not seeing what you want from that guy, and just stay there in it from a don't do that. It's a complete waste of your. I trust chat. I'm sorry. I'm just not I'm not the guy, the friend for you. If you want us to high five each other in delusion and waste time, this ain't the waste time classroom. Okay, your time should be spent, and your energy should be spent in places that serve you. If you find yourself in a relationship that no longer serves you because of some realization or some situation that has happened or transpired, you don't stay in that relationship from a detached standpoint or for whatever. That's wasting your time. Okay. You end the relationship and you move forward with your life, not staying there for some arbitrary reason. I get it that this happens, but you should not be like, oh yeah, we detach and we stay in the, no, what the hell? You leave the relationship. Okay. Like, done. Let it go.
Marrying for money when you love money.
Who sent this to me? You guys think this is a joke? Because I'm Nigerian? This is funny to you? Okay, bet. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. No wonder I be drawing you with a diaper on the whiteboard. Oh, okay. Now you see why. I give you a little bit back. All right, you think you funny. Whoever sent this to you, okay, you think you funny.
It's actually marrying for love. Think about it. Marrying for money when you love money is actually marrying for love. Think about it.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's in the middle of the village, of the jungle there, doing his thing. Okay, uncle. I see you with his rings on and everything like that. He balling. Who sent this to me? Be honest. Take accountability. I tell you, boy.
I had the best interaction with a man tonight. I want other men to take notes. I'm so sorry I look this way. Just hold on. So I'm standing outside having a cigarette. And I see this guy and I just compliment his shoes. I was just being nice. I was like, I love your shoes. And
We actually seen this girl before. She was talking about a firefighter at one point, I believe.
I was like, thank you. And then he's like, oh, I noticed you on the dance floor. I said, ooh, I caught your eye. He goes, you did. He caught my eye. I said, okay, amazing. And then I kind of tried to scoot away. And then he kind of kept trying to talk to me. And I kept kind of scooting away. And he goes, are you shy? Or are you setting boundaries? And I said, I'm setting boundaries. And he goes, totally. Okay, have a great night. I said, you have a great night. I thought, hello. What a beautiful thing. Boys, that's a delicious question. Are you shy or are you setting boundaries? Mwah. Salt of the earth king. I hope he gets a kiss soon. It's not going to be from me, but I hope he gets one soon. Lovely guy. I had the best interaction.
Let's watch that again, because I think I'm a little bit confused. I don't know if you're confused, chat.
Action with a man tonight. I want other men to take notes. I'm so sorry I look this way. Just hold on. So I'm standing outside having a cigarette. And I see this guy and I just compliment his shoes. I was just being nice. I was like, I love
You compliment his shoes? Okay.
your shoes. And he was like, thank you. And then he's like, oh, I noticed you on the dance floor. I said, ooh, I caught your eye. He goes, you did. He caught my eye. I said, okay, amazing.
Okay, unless I'm confused. Maybe I'm too old that I'm removed from Gen Z dirting or vibes. Flirting, I should say.
Your eye. He goes, you did.
Is responding with, ooh, I caught your eye on the dance floor, that's not flirty energy, and then coming out and complimenting his shoes? Like, he didn't say anything to you. Is that not flirting? I must be lost. I thought if someone comes to you and compliments your outfit and then is like, "Ooh, I caught your eye on the dance floor." That's not flirting? I'm so lost.
He caught my eye. He said, okay, amazing. And then I kind of tried to scoot away. And then he kind of kept trying to talk to me. And I kept kind of scooting away. And he goes, are you shy? Or are you setting boundaries? And I said, I'm setting boundaries. And he goes, totally. Okay, have a great night. I said, you have a great night. I thought, hello. What a beautiful thing. Boys, that's a delicious question. Are you shy or are you setting boundaries? Mwah. Salt of the earth king. I hope he gets a kiss soon. It's not going to be from me.
I'm not saying setting boundaries is bad. Setting boundaries is great. I'm just a little bit confused because I thought I'm lost. I thought that's flirting. If you go up to someone and you compliment their outfit and then we're talking about, oh, you seen me on the dance floor. I thought that's flirting. I don't know. Maybe I'm Chad, you can. Is that not flirting? Can people just compliment your outfit and they're not actually trying to flirt? Tell me, make me understand, because you are all women. Would you compliment a man's outfit, like go out of your way to compliment his outfit if you were not trying to flirt with him? Tell me in the chat. I just need to understand, because maybe I'm confused. Maybe I don't know, right? Would you go and compliment a man's outfit, but you're not trying to actually flirt with him? In reality, you just compliment it, but you don't want to actually flirt with him or talk to him. You don't think he's interesting. Okay. I see some people saying yes, some people saying no. So maybe it's a personality thing. Okay. Someone said, no, this woman likes attention. Okay, fair. Maybe I'm confused. I would just think if someone comes up to me and compliments my outfit for no reason, like for free, I ain't talked to her, I ain't see her on nothing, I would think that that's, trying to strike a conversation. So maybe I'm confused, but I get it in the sense of setting boundaries. She likes that. And one day she hopes he gets a kiss, just not from her. Okay. It almost sounds like a backhanded compliment, but okay. Sure.
So I was married
to
we watched this already.
All right, chat, let's hop into our next segment of the day, which comes from, which is a very special segment. If you know what time this is, tell me in the chat and spam it up. If you know what time is coming and what we're about to hop into, it's a special time. It's an amazing time. It's a time where you're going to laugh and you're going to cry. Don't look at your watch. Okay. Don't look at your clock. What the heck is going on here? Don't look at your phone. Don't look anywhere else in your entire home. Okay? If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time. Okay? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? It's Discord time. Yeah. Okay, chat. Let's hop into our Discord segment of the show. For those of you who have no idea what that foolishness was that we just did, Discord time, I'm going to explain this to you real quick, is a time of the show where all the amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question live on the show about their situationship or their relationship, and I answer it live on the show. So there's a few different ways that you can send in your question here, and I'm going to go through all of them with you here today. So the first way to send in your question is by going to our free section, which is available in the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. And there you can drop in your question. Make sure you format it how everyone's formatted it, and I will answer it on the show. Now you see these highlighted questions. These are questions I haven't gotten to. Why's my face there? These are questions I haven't gotten to yet. Why is my face there again? Why is my face in the Discord? these are questions I haven't gotten to yet, so I have to answer these first before I'm able to answer the other questions, okay? So it's a first come, first serve basis in our free section. So if you ask your question right now, I won't be able to get to it today. It'll probably take me a couple of days, but if you are too impatient to wait a couple of days to get your question answered, don't worry. There's an option where you can skip the line and not have to wait at all. This way is by getting your question into our Discord premium relationship advice section. Now, the way that you access this is by going to the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. And you're going to click where it says premium Discord relationship advice. You're going to click that, you donate to the show, and along with your donation, you send in your Discord username and the title of your question. I get a notification on my phone. I see that that's you. I can verify that that's your question, and I know you're supposed to be here. Then I read yours before I go into the free section. So it's like a skip the line pass. And for those of you who want to send me in a question, but you don't want to have your information put out on the show because you're a little bit more of a private person, that's perfectly fine. You can also send me a private relationship question. That link is also in the my TikTok bio or the link in my description. Click where it says private relationship advice. You can type out your question. I respond with a voice message and I send it back to the email that you're going to use to send in your question. Okay. No one else sees it. Let's hop into our first question of the day, which is a premium question that comes from Uniquely Nick. Should I go or not? Okay. I met someone in the public eye at one of his events back in September. After the event, he bought me a drink and asked me to stay, which gave me a backstage view into discussions with a group of his friends. Okay. It was cool. So you mean like, is he like a musician? I'm assuming you sounds like you're talking about a musician. It was cool. And I had a lot of fun just listening. After a couple of hours sitting in on the group discussions, he asked for my number. So we exchanged numbers and I went home. He never called, but I was busy with school and work anyways. I noticed it, but didn't have any expectations. Finals week recently ended, so I decided I would check out his upcoming event and bought tickets. Sounds like a musician. However, after leaving a Christmas event, I decided to spontaneously check out, his sold out event. How? It's sold out. I texted him to see if I could get in and he said yes. We hung out after his show in the green room. So this is definitely a musician. Why didn't you just say that? Talking for over an hour and he asked me if I wanted to go to a bar. Okay. I said sure and followed him to a bar. Okay. He bought me a drink and we talked until the bar closed. Okay. Now I'm starting to get worried because it's not even a date. You came to a show and we're extending this a lot. Okay. Someone said, or a comedian. Possible he's a comedian. Okay. We left the bar as the bar was closing and he gave me a prolonged hug. Are you feeling something poking at you during this hug? What's going on? Then I went home and he went home. I texted him to let him know I made it home, and the next morning he texted, cool. He's been a total gentleman. Question is, should I attend the upcoming event that I previously bought tickets for before I decided to be spontaneous and go to the sold out event? Do you want to hear my real answer? When I spoke to him while hanging out after the sold out event, I shared that I had bought tickets for the upcoming event, but decided to check out the sooner sold out event on a whim. So he knows I have tickets to the upcoming event, but if I go to the upcoming event, will it seem like I'm chasing him since he already knows I have tickets? Will not going to the upcoming event seem like I'm purposely trying to avoid him? Should I go out or not? Hi, Thompson. I forgot to say hi also. We hung out 2 hours total for that night. Okay, here's the thing. We haven't really talked about dating public figures or things like that because obviously that's not everyone's situation. Whenever you're talking to a guy who has some sort of fame or status, right, and a lot of people know him, if you actually want to catch his eye and have him pursue you, you can't look like a fan. Are you following what I'm saying? If you're going to these shows because you like his music or you like his comedy, if he's a comedy comedian, you have to decide which category you want to be put in. You can't be a fan and also be a girlfriend, okay? You can't be a girlfriend and also be a fan, because the way he'll approach a girlfriend is different from the way he'll approach a fan. So what I'm saying by that is you going to the show and on your own volition, meaning just, you're deciding you want to pay for your own tickets and pull up to the show, versus him saying, I want you to be there and I want you to be backstage and I want you to be part of this, or whatever the case may be. Those are very two different ways to be there. And unfortunately, if you want him to actually take you seriously in terms of pursuing you, you cannot show up at any shows that you're uninvited to. I'm not saying that you enjoying his music or comedy, if he's a comedian, is a bad thing. But if you're saying that you want him to take you as someone he wants to explore a relationship with, you can't be showing up to shows unannounced. And you can't, as weird as it's going to sound, you can't even be paying for your own shows, because it sends the wrong message. Are you a fan that just likes his music, that's willing to do whatever for him whenever he's in town and see him whenever he's in town? Or are you someone who is going about your business that he takes notice of and wants to date himself? Okay. The reason I say that is because men are also going to be categorizing that in two different places. Make no mistake about it. As a man, he's not immune to sleeping with you just because you're a fan. So don't think that he wouldn't sleep with you because you're a fan. But the way he'll approach going about his business with you will be very different, you being a fan versus you actually being a girl he wants to pursue. What I mean by that is, having a show, I just want you to see this from his perspective. Having a show that he's obligated to be at because it pays him, that's how he makes money, means that regardless of whether you came or not, he would have to be there. You being there and happening to be an attractive woman that he's attracted to is convenient for him. Meaning, when he goes to the show he already had to be at, then he sees you there and you paid for your own tickets, and then he invites you to a bar afterwards. That's not actual pursuit, because he already had to be at that place performing there regardless of whether you were there or not. So you being there was just convenient for him, and him asking you to a bar is not real effort. He just so happened to have you already there and then invited you to a place that was most convenient based on the fact that you were already there and present. Are you following me? The reason I say all of that is because that doesn't translate to the same amount of intentionality as him saying there ain't no performance going on. There ain't no backstage. I don't have any obligations. I want to see you, take time out of my schedule to not do other things and make sure I'm able to spend one-on-one time with just you. Not time that I was going to be doing something else and you just be there in the process of me doing that, okay? Him going to a bar with you at 2 a.m. after he finishes his show is not him taking time out of his day to be with you, right? And that difference is the difference between him dating you because he actually wants to explore a relationship with you versus him just, dealing with you because you're one of the fans that shows up to his events or one of his shows. Okay. And I'm not saying that to diss you, and I'm not even saying you can't enjoy his music or whatever it is that he does. What I'm saying is, if you want to get seen as the girl he's going to pursue, you can't be showing up to shows unexpected and paying for your own ticket. Okay. You have to only be there because he wanted you there and invited you there. And for no reason whatsoever should you be around unless he specifically invites you to be there. And even outside of that, he should be inviting you to hang out and do things outside of just show up to his shows. Because I'm not going to cast any aspersions on his character or make assumptions, but what a lot of musicians or artists who are traveling around the world will do a lot of times is they'll create their go-to woman in each one of their cities. So they have their groupies and things like that, but they'll pick one woman that they kind of are a little bit more fond of to be the one that they go to anytime they're in that city. So for example, if you live in, just hypothetically, Miami, and he goes on tour a lot, he's all over the place, and he has a stop in Miami every so often, right? He does shows in Miami every so often. He might like you and like your vibe and say, I want you to be my Miami girl. So whenever I'm in Miami, I'll hit you up. You can come to the show. We'll have a good time. We'll go out. I'll jackrabbit myself inside of you. Then I'll go back to doing what I've been doing after that when I'm not in town. But you'll only be like his in-town girlfriend. I don't know if he's someone that goes on tour a lot, but that can become a thing where you're only his girlfriend on the nights that he has a show. And then outside of that, he doesn't really speak to you or talk to you or want anything to do with you, which is what this is kind of seeming like. So my advice to you is if you want to be seen as like the girlfriend type of vibe, you can't be reaching out to him, and you definitely can't be showing up to shows unannounced and shows that you paid for. Okay. Let's hop into our next question. Okay, this one comes from Lida. Am I in danger? Hey, Tommy, I'm so happy to have the opportunity to jump into this Discord channel to relieve me from overthinking. It has always been you who saved me. Greetings from Germany. Greetings. The way Stefan speaks video perfectly suits to this is unbelievable. So Stefan Speaks made a video about this that you're going to discuss with me. So as I am 21, I started to enter my self-love feminine era. I started to distance myself from dating guys and focusing on my med school, which is what you should be focused on. That's a lot of work in itself. Now I am attracting a lot, but I'm still not interested in investing in something. I'm living in peace right now. Perfectly fine with that. But there is something I'm very concerned about. As you know, I study 3 hours away from home. But when I'm home, I go to my home gym every time. There is a guy who's 30. He is well built. We always looked at each other, but we had no conversation for 1 to 2 years. Okay. Now, my mom started a new job. I started visiting her office, and one day, this man from my gym came through my mom's office door. WTF. We looked at each other and instantly recognized that we know each other from the gym. Now he is your mom's coworker. Okay. And they are joking together at work. Okay. My mom and my gym guy. Okay. Since then, we are talking as well. He is a huge extrovert, always making me laugh, trying to hold a conversation. Okay, now you might think jackpot, right? No. My mom told me at work he talks about his darling. The way my face dropped. What's wrong with that? Apparently, he has a girlfriend. Yeah. If he's a healthy man, not unnatural. I respected that, of course, and kept my distance, but still behaved friendly. But there are a few situations that are a bit creepy for a guy who has a girlfriend. Okay, share. But to make sure that I'm not interpreting reading too much into it, I think you meant to say, I wanted to tell you first about it. First of all, after talking to me a few times, he found my Instagram. My mom didn't tell him. Okay. There are no mutuals, nothing. He found my Insta. He also sent me a friend request. He liked the picture. Okay, well, that is strange. Let me also send a little bit of a caveat. He definitely was seeking you out, number one. So that's not, it wasn't like he stumbled across your Instagram. But it's not like he had to do some complicated, it's very simple reverse engineering. If he knows your mother's last name and he knows that you're her daughter, and he's probably talked about you enough to know obviously he knows your first name, and then he knows her last name, so he knows your last name. It doesn't take very much to find you on Instagram, okay? But that definitely means he was seeking you out, so for sure, I'm not going to deny that. He always comes to me at the gym. He always asks me what exercise I'll do next, how my day was, how I live in my study town, how life is going. He asks me everything. Excuse me. Sometimes he indirectly invites me to something. He says things like, on Monday, day drinking at a place here. I will meet you there, right? Of course, I say no and laugh. Ha ha. Last time when I waited for my mom to pick me up, he waited with me outside for 30 minutes. What? What? Okay. I asked him gently if he wants to go home because it was cold, but he didn't. Then he also asked me if I'm dating someone right now as a taken man. I said no. He said, well, you shouldn't. You should be focusing on university. Okay, thanks, Dad. I didn't say that, don't worry. Like I said, maybe it's because he's very open and an extroverted person. Maybe. He likes my mom. She is very warm-hearted and cares for everyone at work. Maybe it's because he likes our family. It's not. What is your opinion? I would never try to start something with him. I have respect for him being in a relationship, but sometimes my mind is a bit confused. He also never mentioned his girlfriend in my presence. He told me that he's living alone. That could be, he could have a girlfriend and be living alone. So that's not necessarily a lie. I also wouldn't want a man to break up with his current girlfriend for me because he would break up with me for another girl as well. You're smart. Okay. But what should I do? Should I address it? Do you think that a man who isn't happy in a relationship would behave like this? Okay. Let me let you in on a little bit of a secret just about like life. You'll discover this as you grow up, and especially when you get into the work world. There's a thing called like a work wife and a work husband. Sometimes what will happen is people who are in relationships will come to work and they'll pretend like their relationship doesn't exist. Because they like having fun at work, and being too talkative about your relationship can make it not fun because you don't get to flirt at work. Now, obviously you don't work with this guy, but your mom works with this guy. So he's not really attracted to your mom, obviously. He's attracted to you. So when he meets you and talks to you, it's almost like an extension of that, where he doesn't really want to talk too much about his relationship because he likes being able to flirt with you. If he starts talking too much about his relationship, it's not going to make flirting with you really easy or possible. The same way that guys do a lot of the times when they have the young hot girl at work that they really, are attracted to, they're not going to be talking about, oh yeah, so my wife yesterday, she was cooking dinner, and when she was cooking dinner, I was like, oh my gosh, baby, you make the most amazing spaghetti ever. They're not going to talk like that to the woman they're most attracted to at work because they want the space to be able to flirt with that girl at work. Okay, I know it sounds very conniving and stupid. I'm just telling you how the adult world works. Okay, you're an adult, but I'm just telling you how like the work world works. Okay, because you're still in school. So what ends up happening is a lot of the time when a guy's really attracted to you and he sees you in an environment where his actual girlfriend or partner isn't, he'll not mention that or bring that up so that he can continue flirting with you. Now, is he actually going to take action on any of these things? I don't know, but it definitely is a red flag. The fact that he talks like this, talking about day drinking, and that you should pull up to the day drinking vibes, okay, because we're assuming his girl's not going to be there. And just talking to you in general, waiting with you, right? That's another thing. Guys don't do stuff like that unless they want something from you. Are you following me? That's just the reality of life. So I say all that to say you're 100% correct in the fact that he definitely, if we were reading out this message and his girlfriend was in the chat reading this message, she would not be happy because this is very inappropriate behavior for a guy who's in a relationship. Okay, there's no way to slice it or dice it. He's not necessarily saying he's going to sleep with you or whipping his pee-pee out, but it's inappropriate in terms of the way he's approaching you, and especially because he's had plenty of opportunities to talk to you about his girlfriend and he's never mentioned it. Okay, so the reason I say that is to help you understand you're not crazy. However, though, you're asking me what should you do and what are your next steps? Your next steps are nothing. You don't need to address him or his girlfriend because truthfully, it's none of your business. It's none of your business if he chooses not to tell you, cool. If he chooses to tell you, cool. You don't concern yourself with what he has going on, okay? Now, my other piece of advice to you is don't start overly investing yourself into this guy. And don't put yourself in a position where you start thinking, well, I like his vibe. Maybe I will hang out with him. Maybe I will go out with him. Maybe I will say yes to the day drinking, because that can be the mistake as well. Because when you know in your heart he has a girlfriend, but you start saying, well, he's not mentioning it, so I'm not going to mention it, but I'll still hang out with him. Then you can put yourself in a position where you quickly become the side chick on accident. because you just saying, okay, I'm not going to concern myself with it, but I'm still going to go out with the guy or hang out with the guy, that's a mistake in itself, because you already know what it is, but you're pretending to not know what it is so that you can enjoy yourself since he's pursuing you. Don't allow his pursuit of you to get you distracted from the fact that this is not what you're looking for. Okay? So don't say, I'll just do it for fun. Don't say, I'll just do it for the plot. Don't say, I'll just do it for vibes. There ain't no vibes here. Okay? No vibes that are going to exist. I'm not saying you have to, dig up all the information on him and tell him how, hey, you have a girlfriend, so you shouldn't be flirting with me. Just understand, guys are going to be guys. He's attracted to you. He's going to try and flirt with you. He's going to try and ask you to come here and do this and do that. Just ignore him. Let it go in one ear and out the other. Don't let it bother you or affect you. You're an attractive woman. Guys are going to shoot their shot. Let his own girlfriend figure out all the stuff that he's doing, because I promise you, if he does that with you, you're not the only one. So just go ahead, keep your focus and your energy on yourself. Don't worry about the fact that he's flirting with you, and definitely don't pull up to anything that he invites you to. Nothing. Okay. If he sees you when you're, at your mom's job or at the gym or whatever, and he sees you and he wants to conversate with you, cool. Let him talk to you, whatever. But as far as it goes in terms of taking any of your energy and actually going to meet up with him, don't do anything with him. Okay. Lida says, what if he breaks up with her? If he breaks up with her and he decides that he wants to pursue a relationship with you for whatever reason, and he actually wants to treat you right and take you out on a date and be serious about it, then you can reconsider whether or not you actually want to go out with him. That's your own choice. I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. But if you know that he's still in a relationship and you can verify that, and he's, being weird around you, I wouldn't even bother yourself acknowledging anything that he's saying. But also, like you mentioned, right? Why would you want to date a guy or go out on a date with a guy who's been flirting with you since he's had a girlfriend? Not really a good place to start, right? Let's go on to our next question here. Why do some of these have my face? I don't understand. Pen pals for a few years. A name says, okay, this is a short one. How do you feel about having a pen pal for a few years, let's say 2 to 3 years? What, chat? What do you think I'm going to say to this? Like, let's be for real. What do you honestly think I'm going to say to this? Okay, a pen pal for 2 to 3 years. Someone said, "What's a pen pal?" A pen pal is what we describe in the Players Club as someone who you talk to on the phone, you text, right? But you never actually see them in person because it's long distance. Okay. Or even in some cases, medium distance, whatever the distance, right? But all you do is you chit chat over the phone. Maybe sometimes you phone call, maybe every now and again you video chat. But for the most part, there's no actual seeing each other in person. Okay? And there's no plan to. Complete waste of your time. There is no universe, world, or situation in which you're a pen pal with someone for 2 to 3 years, because I'm assuming you're saying pen pal because within that time frame of 2 to 3 years, you haven't even seen them once in person. If you haven't even seen someone once in person in 2 to 3 years, just go ahead and let go of the relationship, because it's non-existent. Okay. I know we all want to imagine that our perfect person is across the world because that seems like a really magical love story. But the reality of it is the men that exist in your country, in your city, are the exact same as the men that exist across the world. So what I want you to understand is when it comes to men, if they really want you and desire you, they will have a burning desire to see you in person. It will not be good enough for them to just spend 2 to 3 years chit-chatting with you over the phone and over text message and never actually seeing you in person. So if a guy allows 2 to 3 years to go by without ever actually seeing you in person, 2 things are happening simultaneously. 1, he's not that interested in you. And number 2, even if he does talk to you over the phone and text you over that 2 to 3 year span, I can 100% guarantee you when it comes to physical intimacy, he's having physical intimacy with other women who live close to him. Right? Which is why he's okay with just being a pen pal to you for 2 to 3 years and for a little bit of attention. because it's fun for him to have that attention with someone he knows he's never going to meet, because he's being satisfied with the physical intimacy he has with someone who he's really actually seeing on a regular basis, right? And someone even said in the chat, or he's married. That's also possible as well, right? He could have his own whole girlfriend or marriage going on, which is why it's convenient for him to chit chat with you, knowing he's never actually going to have to see you. Do not waste your time on pen pal relationships. Complete waste of time and energy. Don't even bother. Okay. 1111 says platonic friendships. Hi, Tommy. Can you please speak on why men and women can't just be platonic friends? Kind of like an extension of your best friend episode, which I loved. Can you please speak on this dynamic here? I don't trust men who have female platonic friends. Is it unreasonable to meet men with no platonic female friends? Thank you. Okay, so this is a video of me saying why men keep female friends. Okay, so the reason that I say that, and I let you guys know that, you know, you shouldn't be men in your life. Let me break this down. Men don't do things for no reason. So it's going to sound really mean. Men don't seek out the ugliest, most unattractive women to make a friendship out of. Right? Someone said he's wearing the same outfit. Literally. I'm consistent, aren't I? I'm just in the closet in that one. So men don't do things on accident. When they choose to find someone that they want to be in a relationship with, or a friendship with, you have to understand. Imagine if a guy doesn't know you, has never met you, and has no mutual friends with you, and he sees you and decides to himself, I want to be friends with that girl. And I'm not talking about a casual friend that you talk to every now and again. Like, he says, I want to make this person my best friend. Think about this. If he's never met you and doesn't know you from a can of paint, what do you think is inspiring him to want to even explore a possible friendship with you? Just like really, really be honest with yourself. He doesn't know you. He doesn't have a mutual friend with you, but he has a desire to explore a deep personal friendship with you. It's because he thinks you're attractive. Okay? And because he thinks you're attractive, he's now open to thinking about being friends with you. What really honestly happens most of the time is that he first thinks you're attractive, wants to actually see if he can get romantic with you or intimate with you. Then when he realizes he has no chance, in order to maintain his ability to continue having access to you, that maybe one day he can actually get some intimacy out of you, he decides that, hey, I'll just be your best friend. That way, I still get to talk to you. I still get to hang out with you. I still get to be around you. And maybe one day you'll realize that I'm actually the person that you want, and we will get to be together. Guys also do that. Okay. All right. So that's the reason I say avoid guys who want to be best friends. Okay. Friendships in themselves aren't necessarily bad, but the guys that want to be your best friend, it's not for no reason. Okay. And the guys that have a best girlfriend, it's not for no reason. Trust you me. In all my years of living, I have never seen a guy go out of his way to make a best friend of a girl he is not attracted to. So what does that tell you? If guys can't be bothered to make a girl best friend out of a girl that they're not attracted to, how real is that best friendship? Because they can be best guy friends with a guy who's ugly and disgusting. But ironically, they don't find that same, I guess, generosity in their hearts when it comes to choosing a girl best friend to make their best friend. They can't find that generosity to look past the looks and still be best friends with her if they're not attracted to her. I'm not saying that to be mean or to be rude or to tell you that you have no value. I just say that so that you guys can understand it's a waste of your time if a guy is trying to convince you that, oh, yeah, me and you, we can date, but I have this girl best friend and I've always known her from time and we just grew up together in the sandbox. So I just wanted to let you know that that's what my life is like. You just go ahead and say, okay, good. So you go ahead and you can get your ring and you can propose to her because I'm not going to waste my time with you. Because trust me, it'll become a problem one way or another. Okay, I promise you. All right, let's go to our next question here. This one comes from just random letters. We'll call it YK. Oh, does this stand for you know what the F going on? You kids and your your sayings. I don't know how I knew that. That's what that stands for, right? You know what the F going on? All right. My summer fling came back out of nowhere. I had a summer fling with a guy last year, and it seemed like we were just both using each other as rebounds from our on, off again relationships back home. We don't live in the same states, not even on the same coast. After our time traveling together and having fun for a while, right? Fun while you felt like a priority, right? We went back home and got back with our exes. After about a month into us returning home and continuing our relationships with our main persons, wow, he unfriends me on Instagram. Don't freak out. You're shocked, surprised? He has a girlfriend now and he unfollows you after you guys being together and traveling together? Don't you think that that's an inappropriate relationship that he should cut off if he has a girlfriend? But kept me on Snapchat and occasionally viewed my stories. I unfriended him on Snapchat because I thought it was weird for him to unfriend me on social media, but not all of them, you meant. I'm not sure how his relationship with his ex went when he got back home. But I got back with my ex and our relationship significantly improved, and now we're engaged as of last month. So why are you sending me this message about this other man? Now you're starting to concern me. I'm sure word has gotten to him, you meant to say, that I'm engaged now, and he tried to friend me on some random social media site that no one really uses as a way to get my attention. Why don't you just say the site? Why did you say, okay? I denied the request. We have not had contact since he unfriended me like a year ago because I'm a firm believer in someone distancing being all the closure I need. Yeah. I'm not ever breaking no contact because I value my current relationship. Yeah, you shouldn't. But I'm somewhat curious of why he would do something like that. Okay. Here's the thing. Well, obviously you don't know what's going on in his relationship. So it could be that he broke up with her, which is why he's now adding you back. That could be number one. Also, number two, it could be that he wants to look like he's doing the right thing, but he secretly wants to keep you around. Guys, so there's a thing that guys love that's about ego. It's really control. So what I mean by that is when they've had access to you to a certain extent, that where they've been able to sleep with you and be able to have you around and be there for them, and almost like you're one of their girls, their girl. Guys like to keep those girls as their girl, and they like to continue to feel like on an ongoing basis that those girls that they once had on that deep, intimate level, they still have on that level. So what I mean by that is part of the reason he probably unfriended you on social media is because it would be wholly very inappropriate to continue to have you on social media, knowing your relationship and knowing maybe at the time of what he was doing with you while traveling together, maybe his girlfriend or his now girlfriend had a different idea of what had transpired. Maybe he lied to her about the situation. Maybe he wasn't upfront with her about what had happened. So he doesn't want to slip up by, you messaging him or saying something that his girlfriend finds out about what really happened when he traveled with you. So that could be one of the reasons why he unfriended you. But obviously, like we always talk about, why would he keep you on Snapchat? Because it's Snapchat. Okay. Whenever guys are heavy on Snapchat, there's only one reason why. It's because they're trying to do some nefarious stuff. Okay. Whenever you have a guy who's only contacting you on Snapchat or talking to you consistently on Snapchat, it's not for no reason. It's because he's trying to keep something a secret. Okay. So that's that. That's why he did that, and he didn't unfriend you on Snapchat. Now, I know that you're asking this question about him, but I also want to, make you, I'm sure you understand, it's not really relevant. And I know that that's your question, but what he thinks or wants from you or thinks about you is not at all relevant to your life anymore. You've moved forward and you're happy in your relationship to the guy that you're engaged with. Okay. And I get it. You're just curious about what's going on and why he did the things that he did. But once a guy, shows himself to be not what you're looking for, you just move forward and allow yourself to not wonder about what it is that he wants or what it is that he's doing. Okay. So I know that curiosity is a little bit affecting your mind, but never allow your curiosity to re-add him, to answer his call, to answer his message, to answer his anything. Okay, please never do that, because it worries me that you're even sending in this message that there is some level of curiosity going on in your mind. And that curiosity can start to eat away at you, especially if your relationship becomes hard or difficult. Because it's easy to do that when you say that you're happy, but then when that curiosity is eating away at you and you're a little bit unhappy in your relationship, that can start to be the crack and chink in the armor that is needed for you to kind of go back to seeing what's up with him. Okay. So my advice to you, if you don't already, my advice to you, just block him so that you don't ever have to worry about him adding you. Are you following me? Because it seems like him adding you is triggering you and making you start to become more and more curious. So if you notice that pattern, go ahead and let go of that curiosity by going ahead and blocking him so he don't even have the option to add you. That way you can actually have your peace of mind, because guys aren't dumb. If he can continue to pop up, just enough, because trust me, he might add you, then another time he might message you, another time he might try to call you, another time he might try to reach out. And depending on the timing of that, if you're weak or in a weak mind state, or you're going through some things and it's just the right time to have someone reach out to you and be there for you, that might open the door to some things that you don't want to happen or you didn't intend to happen. Okay. So my advice to you is just close the door completely by blocking him altogether. And guys will always attempt to continue to keep their control over you when they once had it. Right. And in the ways that they once had it, especially if they know that you're a little bit weak for them. Or if it's an opportunity for them, maybe because he broke up with his girl, right? It'll be a little bit of a placeholder. Okay. All right, chat. That's the show for today. For those of you who have a question for me, feel free to ask that, whether it be in our free section, in our relationship advice section, or in our premium Discord section, where you can send in your question. Those links are available, or the private questions. All of those links are available in my TikTok bio and the link in my description as well. Okay. For those let me answer one of our super chats here. Did I do that? I think I did it. Nicole Cottom donates $5 of a super chat in our YouTube chat. She says, I'm so confused. Why shouldn't we end the date once we feel like we've gathered enough negative or unacceptable info, deal breakers like cruelty? So what I mean by that is in terms of like, the only reason you would stay on the date is if you're saying, I'm enjoying the food, I'm whatever, and I know I'm not going to talk to the person, but after that, it should be cut off. When I was saying that, I was responding to someone talking about, I just sit there and I share some more about myself or talk about myself knowing that I'm never going to see them again or talk to them again, right? I'm saying don't adopt the mindset that you will continue on past knowing that you're not going to be with the person, okay? And the reason I also say that, Nicole, is because sometimes you might be on a date with someone and you might just realize throughout the date that you're just not compatible. And it's not because they're a bad person and not because, they're an evil or manipulative, horrible person. It could just be because you just realize the way that they live their life is not in line with how you like to live your life or go about things, which is fine. And in those cases, you don't necessarily need to be rude and say, I've realized we're never going to date, so I'm going to get up off this date and I'm going to leave you right now, right? You can finish off the date knowing that you're not going to continue dating the person. But obviously, if that person is rude to you or something crazy happens, then you just get up and walk away. What I'm talking about is just like in the process of you gathering information, sometimes you'll gather information that is really bad, like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. And sometimes you'll gather information that's like, you're not necessarily a bad person. I just know that I'm not compatible with you. Okay. But there's no necessarily reason to be rude in those situations. You can just end the date early if that's how how you feel and you don't want to be there anymore. But my point still stands in making sure that you don't waste any of your time as soon as you realize that someone is not who you're looking for. That's my main point there. But not in every scenario you need to be like super rude to the person. Okay. All right. That's the show for today. For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is above my head on the top left corner of the screen. And that is also available for those of you who are on YouTube in the link in my description. You'll see at the bottom there my Instagram. Okay. Pella says, how do you send videos? What do you mean? Sorry, I didn't mention it. If you guys want to send me videos to react to, you could do that by going into the Discord and go to where it says Tommy Reacts, and you can send me a video there, and then I save them and we react to them. You can also send them to me by mentioning me on TikTok, all right? For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to rewatch the show because you came late and you missed some points that we talked about, you can always go to my YouTube. It's just my name. Type in my first name, Tomisin. Then you go to my YouTube section, go to the live section of my YouTube channel, and then you'll see this live stream and all the other live streams we've done since the beginning of time. Okay. Oh, Cindy asked, are you going to do a live stream during the holidays? Do you guys want a live stream during Christmas time? I feel like Christmas time, you guys don't want a live stream. I may or may not do one during Christmas. I'll let you guys know tomorrow for sure. But I definitely won't do one for New Year's, because New Year's time, everyone's getting ready to go out and do their thing. Nobody wants to sit here and watch me. Okay. So New Year's for sure. No, I'm going to decide tomorrow whether I'm going to do one over Christmas Day, right? Someone said Christmas is boring, right? Yeah. So we'll decide. We'll decide tomorrow. Let me know in the Discord if I should do that. All right. Cause I may or may not. I'm deciding. Okay. I'll decide tomorrow. All right, chat. For those of you, I said everything already. Okay. Someone said please during Christmas. We'll see. All right. I'm going to be here tomorrow, though. For those of you wondering what days I'm on every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I will be here tomorrow for sure on Christmas Eve. And we'll be discussing love, life, and relationship as always. Maybe a little bit of a special Christmas theme for that. All right. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 4 p.m. EST. Until then, arrivederci, au revoir, hasta la vista, sayonara, ciao, salam. I can't think of anyone else. Bon voyage. And I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. It'll be very soon. We'll be together again soon. Merry Christmas.